Hi there, this is David and welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel. Last time we learned about a robbery at the Grand Market, so today we're going to go investigating. I'm sorry, the Grand Market isn't quite open for business yet. Oh, it's the students from yesterday. Good morning. Opening late today after all, I see. Afraid so. Guess you already know about the robbery yesterday, huh? The two merchants whose stalls were destroyed are still arguing about it. You bastard! You're not going to get away with this! Oh no, not them. The manager came to try to break him up, but he doesn't seem to be having much luck. I hope no one ends up getting hurt. What should we do, Reen? Maybe we could try talking to him? Considering everything that's happened yesterday, you just might be the cavalry that we need right now. Would you mind? Not at all. Let's go! How dare you destroy my stall, you damned coward! I knew you country folk weren't to be trusted. Who else could it have been? Just come clean and admit it already. Who are you calling a coward, you Heimdallian snob? You're the one who wanted my spot all for yourself. Calm down, gentlemen, please. Playing all innocent and trying to paint me as the bad guy here, you make me sick. What do you say we settle this right here and now? Huh, bring it on. Hold it! Class 7? You kids again. Keep your noses out of this. I'm gonna make him pay for smashing my stall. Ooh, that does look kind of busted up, I've gotta say. Wow, they really are completely ruined. This is awful. However, harming one another is not going to bring them back. In the end, they'll still be smashed, and you'll be worse off. But this anger isn't going to go away unless I do something. He took all my goods, too, so I haven't even got anything to sell. What are you talking about? You were the one who stole my goods. And you can give them all back right now and fix the damage you did in my stall, or else I can't be held responsible for my actions. This isn't good. I don't think you're even listening to a word that we're saying. What do we do? Stop this at once! Oh, hey, it's the Provincial Army. Yeah, what are they doing here? We were told that they don't involve themselves in market disputes anymore. Huh, that's strange. What's the meaning of this? It's the middle of the morning. Stop this nonsense immediately. I believe that you're the one in charge here. I demand an explanation as to what's transpired. Well, you see... Huh. The solution's simple then. Men, take them away. Yes, sir. What? What do you mean, take us away? 2 stalls were destroyed, 2 sets of goods stolen. The truth is as clear as day. 2 merchants in the midst of a heated disagreement committed the same crime at the same time. That's not fair. Do you not think it premature to draw such a conclusion without any investigation? The Provincial Army doesn't have time to waste solving the petty squabbles of merchants. But I'm not an unreasonable man. Cease your dispute and you'll be left alone. Continue and you come with us. The choice is yours. They're trying to force both merchants to forget this ever happened, to sweep the whole ordeal under the rug. Yeah, something about this seems really wrong. Very good then. I'm sure you can agree that wasting time on shenanigans like this is detrimental to all parties involved. I hope you'll think twice before causing such a ruckus ever again. Now, if you'll please excuse us, I'm a busy man and I have more pressing matters to attend to. Well, he seems like quite the jerk. I guess he didn't want to solve the dispute at all. He just wanted to throw the victims in jail. What the hell's that? There they go. Well, I guess they did stop those 2 from fighting, but they did nothing to solve the underlying problem. This isn't right. I see now how the Provincial Army here conducts itself. Speaking of victims, that guy's brown suit, he is a fashion victim. He looks horrible. I'm sure you're still pretty angry about this, but right now the 2 of you need to focus on keeping cool-headed. If you have the time to fight, try to use that time for something more productive instead. You'll feel a lot better. Yeah, I shouldn't have let my anger take control of me like that. We can't open the Grand Market for business until we've cleaned up these busted stalls, and we're already running late, so I hate to ask, but you all mind lending me a hand? And yeah, get it all cleaned up. Thanks to you 4, we will be able to open the Grand Market for business without any incident. I can't even begin to tell you how grateful I am. Oh, there's no need for that. We barely did anything. I'm just glad no one got hurt. All the more reason to thank you. A merchant stalls his livelihood. Any action taken against it can throw him into a blind rage, and it's hard to bring someone back from that. It would seem the problems facing the merchants in this town are quite grave indeed. The provincial army may have intervened, but it's difficult to believe that they'd make no attempts to find the amicable solution. Quite right. It's clearer than ever now that they've no intention of trying to resolve any issues involving the market. And I can't see that changing unless we decide to just accept the sales tax increase and keep quiet about it. Still, you'd think they'd at least be a little more subtle about the whole thing. There's no way those two merchants are just going to accept this and move on. No, I don't suppose they will. And if word gets out about this, it's not inconceivable for certain groups of people to begin boycotting the marketplace. Something definitely has to be done. I'm just not sure what. Is something wrong, Reen? You're awfully quiet. Are you feeling unwell? Sir, I have a favor to ask. Would you consider allowing us to investigate this morning's incident? What? Are you suggesting that we attempt to find the perpetrator who destroyed the merchant stalls ourselves? It's a kind offer, but as I said yesterday, this is our affair, not yours. You're students. You have your own studies to worry about, and I wouldn't feel right interfering with them. We're students training for the military, though. We can't just stand by and allow something so unjust to go unchallenged. It's the Provincial Army's responsibility to address this, sure, but they're shirking their duties here, and that reflects poorly on us all. Well, that's true enough, I guess. But do you really think we're up for something like this? I kind of have to wonder about that too. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just amateurs. We should at least check with Instructor Sarah first and see what she thinks. Yeah, call her up in Arcus. Yeah, she's already told us. Put your heads together and think, and I'm sure you'll see what you need to do. Her words. This seems like exactly the sort of thing that she meant. At least, it does to me. I see your point. Perhaps matters such as this may fall under the scope of our field of study after all. Yeah, you do make a good case. I'm still not sure we're up to it, though, but I guess it can't hurt to try. Neither seek nor shun the fight. Very well. We shall see what we can do. Are you really sure about this? I'm certainly not going to say no. I'm very concerned about the market and the safety of our merchants. So if you're 100% sure, I have to admit, I would truly appreciate anything that you can do for us. Thank you, sir. We'll do everything in our power to find answers for you. Just be careful. Don't go seeking out trouble. I don't want you kids being put in danger. We're dealing with a criminal who acts under cover of night. He may be capable of a lot more than just thievery and vandalism. Remember, I'm responsible for your safety. If anything were to happen to you, I couldn't even look Van Dyck in the eye anymore. We'll be careful, we promise. I know I will, at least. I probably need to be more careful than anyone else here. Now that that's settled, we should act quickly. Yeah, let's get this investigation started. Okay, let's do this. So first things first, we need to decide where to start investigating. The logical starting point would be the Grand Market itself, the scene of the crime. Can't argue with that. We should probably get statements from those two merchants before anything else. Indeed. I anticipate they've calmed themselves by now, so perhaps we can get something a bit more substantial from them. We still have to ascertain their innocence or guilt in the matter as well. We'll need to keep a close eye on the time, though. If we miss the last train toward Heideler, we'll have no way of getting back to the academy today. Plus, we've been given other tasks too, and I'd really like to get them done. In short, we need to keep moving. Our deadline is 9 p.m. Okay, let's do this. Now, he says that the deadline is 9 p.m., but we actually don't have a time limit. We can spend as much time on this as we want to. It really doesn't matter. So, as long as we, don't go back prematurely, we can get everything done that we want to get done. And to think, I was ecstatic to finally participate in the famous Celtic Grand Market. What did I ever do to deserve this? Excuse me. You. I'm sorry you had to see me acting like that. I hope you can forgive me for my inappropriate behavior. He seems really down. It's quite understandable. He's a merchant in a busy market, unable to do business. So, what brings you here? Did you need something from me? Well, actually... You're investigating? That's right. And we'd really appreciate it if you could answer a few questions for us. You may be able to help us find the true culprit. I suppose it can't hurt. It's better than doing nothing, at least. You don't have to sound so pessimistic. Well, can you blame me? You're students at a military academy. You're not exactly ace detectives. That's true, but we're still determined to find out who did this. We may even be able to recover your goods. Cooperating with us could prove quite fruitful. Okay, fine. I never said I wouldn't help you, did I? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say, though. It's not like I saw anything worth mentioning. You didn't? As soon as I made sure my stall was ready to open the next morning, I left everything set up and went home. The other merchants around here can vouch for that. I guess I shouldn't have left the stall unattended, though. By the time that I got in, it was too late. The deed had been done. So by morning, the stall had already been destroyed and your goods stolen? Come to think of it, what goods were stolen exactly? Oh, I have a sample with me, actually. An accessory? Is this a brand that's popular in the capital? Been a real hit lately, yeah. I was hoping to bring the fad here by selling them at the market. But this is the only one that I have left now. I dread to think just how much money I lost in a single night. That damned coward sabotaging my business. It's much too early to be jumping to conclusions. Do you have any evidence that proves his culpability? No, but he's clearly the prime suspect. He was so against the idea of taking turns sharing the spot with me, he decided he'd destroy my stall altogether. I just know it. I'm gonna get him to give me my goods back no matter what it takes. Please, try to stay calm. You do know that if you cause any war trouble, the Provincial Army really will arrest you, right? Yeah, I know, but it's a matter of justice. I can't just act like nothing ever happened. It's wrong, on general principle. I'm begging you, please get my goods back, whatever it takes. Well, I can't promise success, but I swear to you, we'll do everything we can. That much I can promise. I think that's everything this merchant knows. Let's try questioning the other one. Okay, so just head on over here and talk to the other guy right here. See how he's doing. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but could we have a moment of your time? You're those kids from that military academy, right? What do you want from me? I've got nothing to sell you, obviously. Even if I did have something to sell, I've got no place to sell it. I'm basically ruined. And top it all off, the Provincial Army and that other damned merchant are acting like I'm the one who did it. He's not taking this very well, is he? Hard to blame him, but we need to see if he knows anything that might help us. Well, you see, you're investigating this mess, huh? Okay. So, would you consider cooperating with us? Sure, why not? Not getting my hopes up, but I'm sure you can understand, but hell, I got nothing left to lose. Not exactly a vote of confidence. Hey, he's willing to cooperate. I say we cut some slack and hear him out. So, about last night, at the time the incident actually happened. Last night, huh? I don't know how much help I can be if that's what you're asking about here. I left the market right after arguing with the merchant yesterday, and I didn't come back till this morning. I stayed over at a friend's place, another merchant, just got pissed drunk and ranted at him all night. And you're certain of this? Positive. Ask my friend if you don't believe me, he'll back me up. I wandered over here with an awful hangover this morning, and what I found gave me a hell of a start. My whole stall in shambles. And as if that weren't bad enough, all the processed foods I was going to sell were just gone without a trace. So the goods that were stolen were all processed foods? That's right, nuts, cheese, bacon, all foods that have a long shelf life, made with local ingredients. Seeing all my stuff gone really sobered me up. It was like I hadn't been drinking at all. And that's when I went over to that fool's stall to make him pay for it. Why'd you go straight to him? Because he was the one who did it, of course! He smashed my stall so we could have that spot all to himself. But that doesn't make any sense. If Heinz did it, then why was his stall destroyed too? He must have done that to himself. Probably figured that if he destroyed his own stall, no one would believe that he could be responsible. I don't know, that seems unlikely and it's a bit excessive. While I understand your frustration, baseless accusations do no one any favors and only cloud the true issue. But it's so frustrating. I've lost so much money because of this. I might have to shut up shop for good. That is bad. If I could at least get my goods back, maybe I could salvage enough to stay afloat, but what are the odds of that? None of the other merchants saw anybody do anything, and the Provincial Army sure ain't about to help. I'm finished, pure and simple. All the hard work I've put into getting this far, and this is how my dream ends for me. Well, I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much we'll actually be able to do for you, but we'll do everything in our power to help you find some form of closure. So cheer up, okay? I do appreciate that, but again, I ain't about to get my hopes up. Good luck, though. Yeah, we're gonna need it. That's all the two victims of this crime have to say, it seems. What does everybody think? I can't be sure, but I really don't think either of them is responsible. Both merchants certainly have adequate motive to damage the other stall, but the chance of both committing the same crime at the same night without crossing paths is virtually nil. It's not impossible that they would just have to steal each other's merchandise, but I don't believe that's what happened. Both of them have alibis confirming that they were somewhere else when the crime took place. I'm inclined to agree. I just can't see either of these merchants being responsible for what happened, so we're going to have to look elsewhere to find viable suspects. Where though? I mean, who could possibly have done it? It's impossible to say right now, we don't have any solid leads. We know who the culprit wasn't, but how are we supposed to start narrowing down who it was? The market itself seems unlikely to produce any further clues, so we should focus our attention elsewhere. Actually, there is one thing that's been bugging me. There's one group of people involved in this whole situation whose actions don't seem to make any sense. Maybe if we could work out the reasoning behind their strange behavior, we can come one step closer to finding our culprit. Whom do you mean? I'm talking about the Provincial Army. They haven't done a thing to try to help solve this crime, despite it happening right under their noses, and that begs the question, why not? The market manager said that they're refusing to fulfill their role due to the tax issue, which means the Provincial Army should refuse to intervene in quarrels within the market as well. If that's the case, then why did they come and intervene this morning? Now that you mention it, that really doesn't make any sense. Their methods were atrocious, but the fact is, they brought that dispute to an end almost instantly. They did get involved. Yeah, one minute they're refusing to do anything, and the next they're taking a stand. It's definitely suspicious. My point exactly. There's definitely something unnatural about the way that they're conducting themselves, and since we have no other leads, what do you say we make to the Army's guardhouse and take a look around? We might be able to learn something from them that could aid us in our investigation. That could be worth an attempt. The guardhouse isn't that far from here either, so let's head on over. Ooh! Yeah, and by selecting the Provincial Army, you get an extra AP point, so let's head on inside. Huh? Aren't you those students from that military academy? What are you doing here? We're terribly sorry for troubling you, but we were hoping you might be able to help us out with something. Could we ask you a few questions about the incident that occurred at the Grand Market this morning? What? What does that have to do with you? We're visiting this town on a field study as students from the Thor's Military Academy, and we'd very much appreciate the chance to see how experienced soldiers such as yourselves handle difficult everyday situations. This seems like a perfect opportunity for an anecdotal case study, and you could prove most invaluable to our education if you'd permit it. Alright, stay here, I'll see what I can do. Huh, well Laura's a quick thinker, I've gotta say. It looks like we'll be able to hear what they have to say for themselves after all. Nicely done, Laura. Huh. In times like these, we need to make good use of our positions. No one can fault a student for wanting to learn after all. Now comes the hard part. This makes me nervous. Well, let's just wait and see what we can get out of them. Remember, it's not always what they say that matters, but how they say it. And even more importantly, what they don't say. Right. I hope you appreciate us taking time out of our busy schedules for this. So what do you want? Make it quick. I'm a busy man, you know. He's not even trying to keep up appearances. Unbelievable. I'll be brief then. We came to discuss the incident at the market this morning. Would we be correct in assuming that the Provincial Army would be conducting no further investigation? Huh. Is that all you came here to ask? Is that all? Should the armed forces charged with maintaining peace in this region not be taking this matter more seriously? Laura, I'm not sure. Huh. You got a big mouth for someone your age, and it seems you have a lot to learn about how military units actually work. What do you mean? Let me ask you this. What should the number one priority of the Provincial Army be in order to maintain the status quo? I'll tell you. The number one priority should be to enforce the will of their region's ruling lord, Duke Alberea. As members of the Provincial Army, the will of the nobility is absolute. We're just following our orders, protecting what we have a duty to protect. I assume you're referring to the local petition against the sales tax increase. So you're saying that as long as the petition isn't withdrawn, the Grand Market isn't something that you have a duty to protect? Interpret my words however you want. We're soldiers. We follow our orders, and that's how the military works. We don't need some fresh military academy inductees telling us how to do our jobs. This is nuts. Does he even have a tiny shred of shame? I was hoping we'd be able to get something out of him, but it sure doesn't seem too likely anymore. So that's it then. I hope this has been enlightening. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a job to do. Wait, would you mind answering just one more question? Elliot? Fine, ask it. Well, do you have any idea what might have happened to the goods that Marco was handling? You know, the accessory merchant. All that he had left was that one sample. Huh? What are you talking about? That merchant from the capital, Hines, was the one who was planning on selling accessories. What? What did you just say? What are you all looking at me for like that? How'd you know that? I was under the impression that you hadn't investigated the matter at all. How peculiar. We only discovered what each of the merchants was intended to sell a short while ago ourselves. Sir, We have our own ways of finding these things out. You do well not to underestimate us. Now, we've wasted enough time answering your questions. We're leaving. Do you think? The fact that they know what each of the merchants was selling means that they did investigate the matter after all. But the burglary happened last night, and it was only first discovered this morning. Realistically, I don't think that there was any opportunity during that time for them to do any digging, not without running into us. Agreed. I suspect that they knew what each merchant was planning to sell well in advance of yesterday's incident, though that would be easy information for them to learn, since Duke Alberea must have issued permits for both stalls. That's true, and the army would have no trouble gaining access to transaction records for something like that, but why would they bother? Maybe they needed to know so that they could prepare. Prepare for what? I get the impression that the incident of the market has been carefully planned out for a while now. I don't think that those two merchants being given permits for the same spot was a coincidence either. It was probably done to get them to start fighting, so they can get robbed while there was a tension between them. Basically, to create a situation that couldn't be brought under control without the army's help. So the two merchants were being used all along. That seems to fit perfectly with what happened this morning. Meanwhile, the Provincial Army has shown no interest in actively working towards a solution, unless the market manager chooses to withdraw his petition. So they waited for things to get out of hand, then showed up to force both parties into an uncomfortable truce. Eventually, the merchants would get worn down enough that they'd feel like they'd have no choice but to withdraw the petition. This is turning out to be an even shadier situation than I thought. Yeah, but thanks to Elliot, I do believe we finally uncovered the truth of the matter. That was indeed some very quick thinking you displayed, Elliot. You'd make a fine military strategist. I just got lucky, that's all. So what we know is, the Provincial Army is somehow involved with the actual perpetrators of this crime. The only way to solve it once and for all, though, seems to be, well, to find them and catch them. But if this was carried out by members of the Provincial Army, that's not going to be an easy task. No, I don't think anybody from the army was directly involved. The soldiers here are far too proud to dirty their hands with such escapades. I tend to agree. Really, whoever the culprits are, I doubt that they're still here in Celtic. There just aren't many viable places to hide such a huge volume of goods without them being found. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they escaped by train? No, that can't be. Boarding a train with that much merchandise would raise suspicion for sure. It's been less than a day since the burglary happened, so they can't have gotten far. Maybe we should ask around on the main roads and see if anybody saw anything out of the ordinary. Someone suspicious may have been spotted leaving or even entering the town. That seems like a wise course of action. Come, let's resume our search. We mustn't let this cowardly thief run free. Okay, so the game actually does you a little favor and it tells you the people that you need to talk to rather than randomly talking to everybody. The people that you want to talk to are marked with a red exclamation point. So let's start talking to this little girl right here. Lulu, are you okay? Look what the nasty man did to her. Is something the matter? I was just chasing after Lulu near the west exit of town, and there was this weird man asleep alongside the side of the street. To sleep in the midst of a bustling town like this, oblivious to its danger, suggests that he must possess formidable skill. Or he was just really drunk. The nasty smell come off him nearly made little Lulu faint. That's terrible. It really was. I don't know who he is, but I'll have to keep an eye on Lulu to make sure that she keeps her distance from him. So he's not from this town then? I'm not sure. I only started seeing him around a few days ago. I'd never seen him before that. Really now? That sounds like a lead if I'd ever heard one. If he's drinking in the middle of the day, and he isn't Instructor Sarah, then we know he's not a merchant at the very least. Yeah, I think we should go talk to him. Let's have a look near the west exit and see if we can track him down. Okay, so that's all the way on the other side of the town, and we have to go talk to some drunk guy. I think that we saw him earlier. But, yeah, let's do this. I wonder if this is the guy that the other merchant was drinking with. He said he went and got shit-faced and hammered, so, maybe. Ugh, this guy reeks. How much has he put down? It's only midday and he's already completely blitzed. I don't think this is the man we're looking for. I think he'd have trouble pulling off a robbery. Sir, are you alright? We can help you back home if you'd like. Shut up, leave me alone. I'm just good for nothing who's lost his job. Looking after that nature park was my whole life. Nature park? I wonder if he's talking about the Lunaria nature park that we saw yesterday. Oh, you kids know it? You see, I used to be the park ranger for the old place. And then you lost your job? Yeah, out of nowhere, too. I gave my life to that job, I did. And then he just came and took it all from me. That damned official just showed up out of nowhere and told me I was sacked. You can't just take a man's livelihood off of him like that. It's not fair. That job was my life. Yeah, we can see that. Something about this doesn't seem right. I agree. It hardly seems fair to take a man's job away from him without good reason. Right? I'm so glad somebody understands how I feel. There's no way a bunch of kids like that are going to do a better job than me. Kids? I was drinking here last night too, you see, and a bunch of kids in ranger uniforms went walking out of the town through the west exit. Weird thing was, they were carrying a bunch of wooden boxes too, in the middle of the night. Kids these days, I tell you. You don't think they could have been the nature park? I wouldn't even have considered it, but given its size, it would be no doubt be a perfect hiding spot. Yeah, they'd have no trouble stashing the merchandise there undetected. The man standing at the entrance yesterday were probably there as lookouts. And if a provincial official was the one to tell them that he was fired, that's practically a smoking gun. Oh, I say something useful? Don't know what I said, but if I helped you out, why not buy me a drink? I would suggest you start trying to sober yourself up instead. There's a good chance we may be able to recover both your park and your job. We know our next stop. As soon as we're fully prepared, let's head on out to Lunaria Nature Park. Right! And we're going to do that next time on Let's Play Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And have a good day.